Picture this. You're a fisherman in ancient Rome when someone walks up and says, "Follow me." That's where The Chosen begins. It's not just a story about Jesus. It's about how ordinary, white-collar Romans end up part of something bigger than themselves. Now, obviously, it's a show about Jesus. So yeah, faith isn't just in the script. It's blended into every scene. But what about the actors? Like, how do they step into a role where they literally follow the Son of God? At some point, I just can't help but ask, are these actors just really good at their roles, or is something from their own lives slipping into their performances? Now, let's talk about their beliefs, shall we? Jonathan Roumie. Alright, let's start with Jonathan Roumie, the guy playing Jesus. Yeah, that Jesus. No pressure, right? In real life, Jonathan's a hardcore Catholic, like actual prayer life, sacraments, the whole deal. He's even said that playing Jesus made his faith stronger, which, yeah, makes sense. When you watch him on screen, there's just something about him, the way he looks at people, how still he is. It doesn't feel like someone acting like Jesus. It feels like someone who genuinely believes in what he's saying. Honestly, at this point, he could walk into a church and people might accidentally start following him to brunch. Shahar Isaac. Then we have Shahar Isaac, who plays Simon Peter, aka the most hot and cold disciple of the bunch. Loud, loyal, a little chaotic, and constantly wrestling with himself. Shahar's Jewish in real life, which actually lines up pretty perfectly. Peter was Jewish too, obviously, and in the show, he's right at that edge of something new, trying to figure out who Jesus is and what any of it means. Shahar brings this grounded, kind of restless energy to the role, and swear on Jesus, the guy can say 1,000 things just by raising his eyebrows. Also, bonus points for having a beard so legit it should get its own IMDb page. Elizabeth Tabish. Elizabeth plays Mary Magdalene, and her character's whole story is about second chances, healing, and holding on when everything's falling apart. Off-screen, Elizabeth's been through it. She's talked about dealing with doubt, depression, even walking away from acting before The Chosen came along. And when she got the role, it kind of pulled her back toward her faith. So yeah, when you see her completely break down in one scene and then radiate peace in the next, that's not just good acting. That's someone who's lived through something. And look, not everyone can cry in biblical robes and still look composed. That's talent. Fun fact, she's also a hardcore leftist. At least that's what she says. Paras Patel. Paras plays Matthew, the tax collector who's basically the awkward genius, always one step away from cracking the Messiah's next move. What's interesting is that Paras, who grew up Hindu, brings a fresh perspective to playing a character who's constantly on the outside, trying to figure out where he fits in. Paras has mentioned that The Chosen didn't just teach him about Christianity, but also opened up a whole new world of questions about faith and identity. It's kind of amazing how someone from a different background can step into this role and make it feel so honest and relatable. Noah James. Then there's Noah James, who plays Andrew, Peter's brother and the guy constantly stuck in the middle of everyone else's chaos. He's not super public about his personal beliefs, but he is Jewish and you can tell he brings a ton of heart into the role. Andrew's that quiet glue holding the crew together, the guy who's always checking in, trying to keep the peace, and worrying himself into ulcers while doing it. His vibe screams middle sibling with anxiety, and honestly, relatable. Vanessa Benavente. Vanessa, who plays Mother Mary in The Chosen, hasn't openly shared much about her personal beliefs. While she hasn't directly identified with a specific religion, some fans have speculated that she might lean toward atheism or agnosticism. Still, she's widely praised for the thoughtfulness and care she brings to her role, regardless of her personal views. Giovanni Cairo. Giovanni plays Thaddeus, the most chill disciple on the roster. Always calm, always kind, probably drinks tea with both hands. Giovanni's Christian in real life, and he said being part of the show made his faith deeper. And it kind of tracks. Thaddeus isn't flashy, but he's rock solid. The kind of guy who doesn't need a big speech to be the one you'd lean on. In a group full of emotional disasters, Thaddeus is like the human weighted blanket. So, whether it's Jonathan absolutely nailing that "I'm the Son of God, but I'm also your best friend" vibe as Jesus, or Shahar giving us all the emotional roller coaster of Peter, these actors aren't just playing roles. They're mixing in a bit of their own life into the mix. That's what makes The Chosen more than just your typical Bible story. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives into your favorite shows, and drop a comment letting me know which character you think is the most relatable. See you next time.